Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today is Money Thursday, and just like every other Thursday, we're gonna talk about money. By the way, guys, I just got this new painting. Let me know in the comments if you think this is dope. Give me a thumbs up, hit that like button, and hit that subscribe because I drop new videos every single Thursday that you don't want to miss out, talking about new ways that you can make money. Last week I talked about if Turo is a good idea to start, especially in 2021. And this week, I'm just gonna give you an update of how Turo has been going for me this year. Spoiler alert, guys, business has been booming. I think it's because it's getting close to the summertime, and then at the same time, COVID is starting to die down as well. So both of those have been providing just a lot of tailwinds moving into this next season. And I think this kind of gets us into the first topic, which is pricing. So I know in the first video, I recommended using automatic pricing. And unfortunately, I definitely want to walk back what I said. I no longer agree with using automatic pricing for a few reasons, but the major reason being is your profit, a major driver in that is the price that you set your car at each day. And having that fluctuate means that your profit is going to also fluctuate. And what I noticed that it was doing is it was pricing out trips in the future at a lower price. Now that might not sound like a bad idea because you're like, oh, well, I'm getting more bookings or I'm getting more, I'm getting more pipeline coming in or I have a steady flow of trips. But the bad part that I realized is if you have trips that are booked out 1 month, 2 months, even like 3 weeks in advance, and you have a steady flow of that, that's actually a bad sign and it means that you're underpricing your vehicle. I've learned that Turo is mainly used by last minute people. You've already checked Hertz, you've already checked budget, you've checked all the other rental places. You see that they don't really have any good cars in inventory, or let's say you need a trip that you're taking tomorrow and budget is charging you out of your budget. Then that's when you go to Turo and you're able to get a good car within that market at a reasonable price. That's what Turo's for. So let's play a scenario. Let's say right now you have your car priced out at $30 2 weeks out. Sure, you might get a whole bunch of bookings. That's good for you. You're going to have consistent pipeline. But what you don't know is that that person that needs your car for, let's say, tomorrow, they're going to pay a ton of more money than someone that needs your car 2 weeks out. So you're able to offer your car at a higher price, let's say at $50, which is $20 more profit than you would at that lower price range. So I just want to say right now, you can go through your listings. If you see that you have a lot of bookings that are about 2 to 3 weeks out, think about increasing that price range. And you will know when you're at a good sweet spot when your bookings are starting to come about a week to maybe a week and a half out. You do get a lot more short-term notice bookings at this point, but the price that you're charging is way higher. So I think when I first put the Jeep on there, it was around maybe $70 a day. Right now I'm charging $100 to $10 a day and it's doing well. Another major update is I purchased a second car since my first video, and my second car has been doing even better than the first one. So I purchased a Honda Accord maybe in the beginning of February. I completely lucked up in advance because the car is just doing so well on the platform. But one thing that I could have thought about beforehand is the exit opportunity. And I think you guys definitely need to think about exits when you're purchasing cars. You don't want to trap yourself into having to do Turo for the next 5 to 6 years to pay off this car. You want to have much more of a, I'm going to have this car for 1 year or 2 years, sell it in year 3 to be able to purchase another car, or maybe not. That way your life is flexible and you don't have to be committed to just doing this one business, especially if you want to scale up, because the last thing that you want to do is go out and buy 5 or 6 cars, and then now you're stuck in a position where you have to pay for 5 or 6 cars if you decide that the Turo business is not for you. Do you need an LLC to start Turo? So I think starting out, an LLC is not necessary at that time. I think it really only becomes necessary if you A, choose to continue doing Turo, or B, once you start having a lot of cars on the platform. Because what an LLC does just, in nature is reduce liability. It doesn't do anything else from a profitability standpoint. It's just to reduce liability. And so as you start having more cars on the platform, your risk increases at a certain level. And by having that LLC, it just reduces it. But if you're just starting out and you do everything that you're supposed to, you check in that car, you take pictures that you're supposed to, you should be covered from an insurance standpoint, assuming that you're using Turo's insurance. However, at the end of the day, guys, I am not a legal professional, so take this with a grain of salt. Address an attorney for any legal advice. A new thing that Turo has added is pickup and return hours. So now you're able to choose what days, what hours, and specifically to the time frame that a person can pick up the car or drop the car off at. You can set when you're available to meet, and guests will only be able to request trips that start and end when you're available. Meaning if you only have your hours available from Monday through Friday, 8 to 8, which is what I have mine's at, then a person can only drop off or pick up that car between Monday through Friday, 8 to 8. And if they choose to do it on a Friday, then they need to bring that car back on Monday. They could bring it back on Sunday, but they're still paying for a 3-day trip as opposed to a 2-day trip. That way you get more bang for your buck. The more you know, right? Just found this out, guys, and it's been working pretty good. I thought at first when I was going to do it, it was going to reduce the amount of traffic that I had coming in, but I'm still getting bookings at a relatively consistent rate, and it's not bad at all. Now let's talk about chargebacks. I've had about 34, 35 trips so far, and there have been a few bad apples in the bunch. When you cross those bad apples, you charge them for whatever they screwed you over on. So I had a few people, they brought my car back just completely dirty. And I even added an option as an extra feature to post clean, where I will come in and post clean, even though I'm gonna do that regardless, but I added in an extra feature for post clean, which is $20. The reason why I added that in is because that's basically saying, hey, if you bring my car back dirty, you are gonna get charged just $20. And that, helps you out just as a Turo leaser that's giving out your car, because now you're kind of covered if someone brings your car back dirty and they can't say they didn't know, because look, I have it here as an extra option. Secondly, if a person goes over miles, feel free to tax that ass. Tax them back for every 49 cents. I think it used to be 75 cents in the past. I just recently found that out. But those 49 cents add up per mile, because let's say that person goes over 100 miles extra. Not only does that depreciate your car more, but now you also get to charge 49 extra dollars. That is another very helpful tip. Something else that I've learned throughout the platform, let's talk about penalties. Let's say you can't do every single trip, or you are gonna have to cancel. Turo is not as forgiving as you would think when it comes to cancellations. So there are 2 times in particular that I can think of. I had my Accord at the dealer. It was getting fixed up for mechanical reasons, and someone came in and booked a last minute trip to use that car in 4 hours from then. And I had forgot that I dropped it off earlier that morning because I checked Turo. I didn't have any listings for that day. So Turo charges you $100 if you have to cancel a trip, and they also delist you in the NCO feature. So that just means that if you do have to cancel, they might waive it every now and then. There's like a $50 fee that they waive, and then there's also a $100 complete cancellation fee. There was a situation to where I just decided to sleep in. I woke up late and completely forgot that I had a booking that day. And the person, tried to call me, and this was my fault, and I take complete responsibility for that. But Turo made it impossible, because they made it impossible to get in contact with them to get the person to rebook again, because I talked to the person, they were happy with rebooking. But when I tried to call Turo to get this problem situated, Turo took about maybe 2 to 3 hours of a wait time. I just didn't even wait because it said that the wait time was so long. And then I emailed them, and they took forever to get back to me. And then they had the audacity to charge me money for the booking having to be canceled at that time. Even though it was my fault, I had got it situated out to where the person was going to come back and pick up the car. So that's just, penalties. They are there on the platform if you do have situations where you need to cancel. That is going to arise. I talked about being an all-star host in my previous video. Now I'm going to go into the requirements that you actually have to be an all-star host. There are about 5 different categories that you have to reach. The first one is having a response rate greater than 95%. So this is like when people are reaching out to you and you're responding back. They do kind of penalize you if you don't respond back to all the messages, especially not within a certain time frame. The acceptance rate, so if you decline trips, if it's either for a delivery reason or you just can't do the trip and you decline it, you need to have you need to accept more than 90% of your trips. So that means just be very cognizant when you are declining trips. For a commitment rate, you need to have 95%. So basically you need to commit and actually go through with 95% of the trips that you book. So before we said you need to accept 90% of the trips, and then you also need to at least have a 95% commitment of going through with all your trips. Nextly is 5-star ratings. So you need to have, 90% of your trips need to be a 5-star rating, and I believe it has to be more than 10 trips. And then, so you also need to complete more than 10 trips to be considered an all-star host. Now let's talk about the benefits still of being an all-star host. There are a few perks and privileges. Number one is more visibility. So you get to jump automatically to the top of those rankings when a person is searching in your city. And you also get to have that all-star host badge next to your name, which makes your profile stand out a little bit more. You also get priority support whenever you need to call contact support. So maybe if I would have had them before when I had that issue with the customer, if I would have been an all-star host, they probably would have accepted my call. You also get a travel credit bonus of $100 each year. So if you are traveling to a different city and you want to use Turo, they give you $100 to use for your own personal bookings. And then you also get extra bookings. So when Turo assists guests with purchasing a vehicle. All right, guys, these were a few tips that I learned from out the 3 months that I've been doing Turo. I plan to do another update within 3 months, especially after I get that All-Star Host badge to let you know any additional information that I learned. I'm probably going to put another car on the platform. Thinking between a cheaper end of the spectrum or a more luxury end of the spectrum. There are a few pros and cons that I want to weigh out on both sides, as well as talk to other Turo hosts. If you want to learn more about that information, or you want to see more Turo videos, or just more information on business concepts, feel free to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification button so that you're notified whenever I drop a video. And until the next video I make, guys, or the next video you watch, catch flight.